Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to round 3. Let's check with the terrors that be, with the runs that have been provided by thee. On this here slick map made by VP, we gather together for XDWC. Welcome to round 3. We have a fantastic map for you this week. Quite a long strafe and combined with slick map. And there's a couple of secrets to take a look at. So we're going to start off with a quick run through the map and show you how we're looking at the start with a couple of cheats because I suck. I only played this map for a week, you know. So we come over the top. There was the slick at the start that I had to teleport through. That was a very key part because you could keep that speed all the way around through here for a very, very long time. All the secrets are right at the end of the map, so we'll get to just see the entire map first. Coming through and down here, trying not to fall into this hole here because that would teleport you backwards. Then jumping back across the cavern all the way around here, up and over. A couple of little slick patches. Will anybody get anything off of them? I'm not sure. Flinging it round this corner and definitely not doing that cheat to get round. You then come across here. Which path do you take? Do you hit this? Which bounce do you go for? To bring it into here, how much speed can you carry into this slick section? And then, of course, how much speed can you carry out of this slick section as it continues straight down this line? Up here, keep some speed, round the corner, and onwards to our first secret, which is in these holes here. We pop through. Don't fall in the hole because it'll teleport us out. Round these corners, through the tunnel, and we get to the Kool-Aid Man. A nice little secret. One of the few places... Oh no, you can't. I thought this was one of the few places you can see the skybox. There's like 2 places on the map you can see the skybox. If we carry on here, there is the second or kind of a half secret that's here. And that is this very potent up in the wall. And then finally you come all the way around to the finish, up here, through here. Take this slick. Ordinarily you would fling yourself around here and go up and over there, but instead we go past the screenshot location from the start of the stream, and we go either into this ant hole just here, or the X marks the spot and we drop down here. And I'm now going to cheat because I can't remember how to get out. There it is. And through there. Here we are. So we have some AI generated weeds and some more and a few more, and finally a very nice well crafted room full of a plantation of gorgeous plants. Looks really nice for up here, actually. I did this earlier. You kind of want to get this angle. There we go. Looks super nice here. Very, very nice. There's another secret right behind after the teleporter. Is this legit? Am I getting baited in the stream? Start of the stream, I'm getting baited. So yeah, we might as well try for the slick start. So people would have been coming through here, double jumping off of here, and getting a slick to get them as much as possible. I believe I'm getting baited, but we'll try anyway. Live on stream baited by Des. If this stream is too long for you and you can't watch it all, that's Dez's fault. Blame Des. We normally do. It was a great map this week though. Really fun. I think everybody quite enjoyed it. There have been quite a few things that have been mentioned this week. There was a lot of people realising that they didn't have light maps on when they came to this wall and the other slicks that look absolutely terrible unless you've got light maps on. Is it after the drop down? Right behind after the telly on the P room. Oh, but you can't get through there. Oh, telly and look back. Ah, yes, of course, there's this one. I forgot about that one. Yeah, I saw that. Cracking. There is all of the secrets and Easter eggs and various things. It's a beautifully textured map with all of these Egyptian stylings on it. And now we shall take you through the records. We have 22 beautiful records to go through today. We are going to be starting off with your 28th place Argentinian and South American champion, Dez. Everybody's favourite. He's going to take us through the map. I know I've already done it, but he'll take us through with no crashing, no secret finding, and hopefully no cheats, you know, but it's Dez. Maybe he's enabled something on the server. There is no Africa this week, unfortunately. We had no African players at all, so if anybody wants to relocate and get an instant continental champion win, you're absolutely welcome to, though you will have to speak with the Federation of an African nation to make sure that your time is accepted and that you are correctly registered as an African nation player. This is quite a nice route through here. Very nicely done there to get that rather than the up ramp. Smoothly onto here. Doesn't go for the down ramp on the outside. But is able to get a fairly decent run into here and able to keep a decent amount of speed onto the slick. Not too bad of a start on the slick either. Goes wide, takes quite a bit of time on the slick, but does come off with quite a lot of speed, which is good. Good exit speed here, gets the double jump onto this outside slick. Very nicely done. And then how's the spacing for the finish? Looks a bit tortured through that corner, but it does give good spacing to land there. Bad spacing up there, but a good ramp, low and fast, and all the way through. A fantastic run to start us off with. Just outside of the top 20 here in 21st place, joint with everybody's favourite No Chatter Malice, is Nature, Khanate, with a 75.07. So we do have the top 21 people here because Nature has the Oceania Continental. Looking straight at the ground for some reason. Does he always strafe like this? Is that just a thing that for this week? He always been like a minus 25 degree player? Ooh, tasty, tasty. I was eyeing that route up at the start, but I couldn't make it work without losing a lot of speed. Very nicely off the wall there. So that means that it doesn't matter what spacing you've got, you can take that outside wall because it's all the way along. You're not worried about hitting the rocks or hitting the ramps and losing speed off of those. The spacing is always the same. Very nicely done. He hits the top. That's a nice trick. Hitting that angled bit to push him down faster, but also getting straight into the hole. Comes out of there with about 3200 speed. Very nicely done. That's a good amount. Gets you a good jump up. Does a nice little trick there. It's not the greatest, but it's good enough speed to get some good spacing for that slick, and then it's all the way around. This looks like it'll have some decent spacing onto the slick. It does. Those outside of the slick, if you go too far, you will lose speed on the non-slick. And just outside of a 1:15. Very nice time. Very clean throughout for the most part. So we'll see what else we can see, because I think that is going to be the core of the route. There's going to be bits of change, like the off the side could go for a rock, but we're going to see a core route starting to develop until we start to see some tricks being brought in further up the line. Silny, your 20th player, is going to be up next with a 74.84. Nice time to bring us into the top 20. It was a difficult top 20 to get into, for sure. A lot of people setting very good times early on and then continuing to improve. Just one of those maps, it's so long that the more you play it, the better you're going to get at the end. And you've just got to line up a start with an end Or do you go for like a harder start towards the end when you're more comfortable pushing that all the way to the finish? Good amount of speed through here. Gonna go for this ramp. You don't lose very much speed off of the ramp. Those slick patches I found were very nicely spaced. It didn't matter what speed I came in. I could always either double jump off the first one or jump on top of the second one. Nice speed here. You'll notice most people are looking backwards when they drop down onto the slick, and that's so that they can get a 180 nicely out of it. Beautiful flick round on that. 1600 off the slick. Carries good speed, good spacing through this corner. Not much speed lost on that ramp, getting cleanly over the top. 1800 takes a very wide route, but a lot of speed. Nearly falls in the hole. That would have been brutal. I'm sure that possibly happened on some runs to quite a lot of people, falling in that gap right at the end. Did anyone go the other way? I genuinely have no idea. I don't watch these beforehand because otherwise I wouldn't get amazing reactions. Next up, we have a 0.32 improvement onto foLn. The wide path I found is about the same if you can keep the full speed. Like that was a lot. I found that 1500 speed was middle of the road. If you could go tight with 1500, that's amazing. But you could go wide with more, or you'd go super tight with like 1300, 1400. A lot of different paths we're going to see at the start. It's going to be really difficult to evaluate the start paths. Because the two sides are not even right out of the start. You go boom, slick, up the stairs, and the two sides as you drop further down are not even. So it's going to be very difficult to evaluate different people's start paths in such a short amount of time. There are a lot of valid ones, and I think for a lot of people this map was just about finding something that worked for them. Nice turn around there. That's an interesting way of looking, but works very well. Nice drop, keeping a lot of speed here, gets a good slick out of it, going wide and fast on the slick. Going to come out of here with a lot of speed, 35, nearly 3600, through to checkpoint 8. Flings it up the top. Lot of speed. There was something in the slick that was, you know, did you stay on the slick for a lot longer and gained more speed, but potentially sacrificed about half a second on the slick, or did you jump off of the slick as fast as possible with a bit less speed and move around? There's a lot of different people with the splits. Following that on is myself, MxCrab, with 18th place and a 74.27. So very nicely you get to see the route that I'm comparing it to, because it is quite difficult to break away from your own run. I do this run the whole week, continuously develop it, and then I see other people's runs and it's like, oh, right. But this is what I'm comparing to. This is standard for me. So coming off there with nearly 1800 speed, you land on this top deck here and you get absolutely perfect up ramp just there. Get a little bit faster and you can get a better one, but the run never came together. Coming here, going wide so that I get a nice glide up there, super fast. Now, did I get... I did. So I was bouncing here. It was very difficult to get that down ramp. If I went slightly faster into that previous section, then I'd miss the down ramp. I ended up going there and flicking off of that instead of going round. I couldn't quite get round for the block on the other side. Bounce off of this down ramp down the side, pick it up, and then I tried head hitting, but it didn't work. The best thing to do was just to get 320 by pushing out of it. I kept it short on the slick. I'm not the best slick player, so I just kept it on the slick short as fast as possible, and that seemed to give me the best of both worlds. I could only really get like 3500 if I absolutely try-harded, and that was half a second extra, and I wasn't bringing that through to the next section because I didn't quite understand the curve over until later in the week, getting that slightly better. But I was very happy with that time, actually. That is a very nice time. And with an even nicer time than that is, who is it? Kyle. Bringing us with a 74.18. Oh, those two aren't tied. Okay. Kyle and wdjzr have the same number for some reason, but they're not tied. I blame Miria. There's a few people with the same number on the spreadsheet that aren't tied. So I was expecting... I'm never quite sure what order they'll be spat out in the generator for the names and the times that get put on the screen. So I just have to go with whichever one it is if there's a tie. Nice slick off of here. Me and Kyle were doing a very similar start route, I know that. He was going around here, but we got to this section at the same time and with a lot of the same speed for the most part. He's going a lot faster than me through this section, actually. Noticing it now. And comes in on the inside. Huh. He must have changed something up on the last day because I was following him quite often and going the same speed. But it was difficult to get consistent starts, so potentially he was just having an offset. That's quite an interesting route to go all the way through that. That's very precise, keeping your nerve through there. Nicely done on the drop down. Just about gets across. If you land on those top pads, then you won't get the insta drop, and it is 0.75 seconds or more slower. Kyle had the fastest checkpoint through here, I believe, or one of the fastest at the very least. Oh no, he had the fastest top speed, that was it. He had the fastest top speed, which is of course the bottom end of that. But a really nice bit of spacing. He landed absolutely perfectly on the bottom of that. That would have made me shit bricks. Super tight on here, as I said before. 1300, 1400 for the super tight inside line. Takes you very nicely to the finish. Great run from Kyle there. Following that up, we have your Asian Continental Champion, the Turkish Delight wdjzr, and I'm very glad because I thought of that last week and forgot to use it. And I told him he had to get in the top 20 this week so that I could use it. So here we are. I'm glad that we're seeing some route variation. It's difficult to talk about these kind of route variation things. Like we can see here dropping to the lower part rather than the high part. Eats that ramp very harsh there actually. So that would have been the benefit of Kyle's route. But potentially wdjzr wouldn't have got Kyle's route. A lot of people, you know, I took on Uchi's discarded route. When Uchi was going too fast, I was going too fast for my route and he was figuring out a new one, and I was like, what's your route then? And what's the max speed on it? And I was like, oh, max speed on that's 1850. I'm not getting an 1850 slick. I will take that. And I think that's one of the coolest things about us having online is that people of varying levels can take discarded and unneeded routes and adopt them and take them on. Nearly 1500 coming through there very nicely. That will get some great spacing. There were some bad spacings that you could get if you went sort of every 200 to 300 speed that you went faster. You would then eat the up ramp. So you would then have to gain another couple of hundred to be not eating the up ramp, or go slightly slower, which then, you know, that was kind of one of the things that kept me going for the shorter slick rather than more speed. wdjzr they're going for more speed and getting more out of it, and then getting to the next section faster. And being able to finish faster through that whole last section. This map was in sort of two parts that you just kept getting faster at, and any speed you could take into the start of that, you would then bring all the way through, which was, it's always really interesting. Next up, we have RainbowShadow, a 7348. Very nice timing indeed. We do have some, again, the same as last week, where we had some big jumps and some little jumps. This is a reasonably big jump, going 0.3 of a second from wdjzr's time. There we go, double jump there, a little bit of a spacing adjustment to the side, and an absolutely beautiful up ramp. W turning around this corner. Everybody had their own way of making sure they got the spacing for this next section and they weren't going to eat a rock. Nicely done, adjusting bounces perfectly on the bottom of that. That must have been the last couple of units, within the single digit units. Beautifully up that ramp as well. That was the other one I talked about with my route, that you could hit the pads and go up. 2200 means a spacing adjustment to get around there. Gets it nicely, isn't going to carry speed down the hole, but goes for the backwards route, gets a 180. Very nice slick through there. Very calm slick as well. Big sweeping motions. Nicely done. 1200 out of there. We should be seeing a good, not the greatest mini slick. Goes for a wide route, which sets up good spacing and lands very cleanly onto this slick. Gets inside, super tight inside, fairly fast, but really nicely inside. That's a dangerous reset. Are you certain you got that before you reset accidentally on a good run? But a very nice time. A fairly big jump here for 0.39 of a second. Jumping our way over to Plaza, who, like I said, in the first round, or the round 0, I believe, Plaza's absolutely made a step up this year. And this sort of map is absolutely the sort of map that he's made a step up in. Playing the VP 100 map, same mapper as this map, a 25-minute long strafe map, and grinding on that, and then some other longer strafe maps. Plaza's made a step up that, you know, if there was a most improved strafer, it would probably go to Plaza this year. There probably is a most improved strafer. I've just realised that's later in the year, isn't it? Non-XDWC things. Join us for the regular season. It's fun. Keeping the 1200 that you need out of there without having to use the down ramp gets a very nice shot here. Probably going to keep this speed. Yes, does. Drops down with nearly 500 speed and then gets a beautiful exit. Going to get a little bit caught up on starting to strafe. It can be difficult, but gets a good bounce at the bottom. Doesn't even need the double jump. 1600 off the mini slick. Nice ramp there. Nearly gets the down ramp, but I think it gives better spacing to not get the down ramp there for him. Incredible corner there. Super tight and nearly keeping 1500 all the way around it. Absolutely fantastic. And yeah, 1.3k out of that top fling with the curved wall ride at the top. Absolutely killer run. And a really, really good end. Plaza, like I said, he's been playing these longer maps. Him and Two playing those longer maps. You don't panic when you get to the end of these runs. I realised it for myself. Like, I realised I prefer the kind of Mario Kart 3 lap level of run. 2 minutes or so. And you don't, if you play a lot of those, you don't panic at the end of these sort of runs, which is really important with this. A new face now, dragged in from the depths of Quake 3 because we need somebody to beat Goblin. Ignore what it says at the top of the screen. That doesn't exist. Shh. We need somebody to try and beat Goblin, so we brought Lith in, a very good player from Quake 3. He picked up the game rapidly and is absolutely flying towards it. Weapon map's more his thing, so we'll take a look how he does next week. Let's take a look how he does on Slick and Strafe. So this is the first week of the guy. I have to say nothing will ever beat Dex turning up in 2023, 15 minutes before the end of Jesus Christ, 1860 I think I saw there. Turning up 5 minutes. Ooh, he's done it! He's done the over the top. There's no ramp hit on the way down. Hopefully, please don't do anything fancy, Lith. Thank you. Okay, the nature route. Very nice. Takes that top rock. Interesting. Is going too far to be able to get that, but gets a decent down ramp anyway. It's not a right at the top down ramp, and he's able to hold that strafe for a very long time. Coming through here very fast. Could be 30 units faster, but quite often that would break you on this corner here. And we may have to go back to the more... head hitter. Very nice. Very nice head hitter. Good amount of speed. Going pretty straight towards this finish. Not the greatest slick exit, but it should be good for spacing. And indeed, 1100 out. 1600 off the mini slick. Gets a down ramp. Clean W turn. And 1500 towards the finish. Really, really nice. Very well done for your first time, Lith. Absolutely fantastic. To go back to the Dex thing, Dex turning up in 2023, playing 20 minutes on round 1 and getting top 20 overall, despite only playing 20 minutes on round 1 and still getting a respectable time for 20 minutes of the first time you've played the game. Rolling it on to 2 here. Plaza's battle mate on the longer maps. Small improvement here, 0.12 over lith. We're going into a couple of smaller improvements as we head towards the peaky end of the top 10. Eating that ramp was quite a common occurrence if you were taking the outside staircase. Using all the space on the slick there. I did see quite often, yes, 2 comes all the way across here. Every time I was playing on the server and we started at the same time, I'd just see 2 come flying across the top of my screen because I was going the other side of the center box. Poor down ramp there, but there's not much you can do about it sometimes. Sometimes it is just better to be faster earlier, and it's a shame that you lose out on that as you come through. But I expect 2 to have a fantastic second half of this map. I would expect a trick here. Indeed, gets a very nice head hitter there. Isn't able to carry too much speed falling down, but that's fine. Gets a fantastic slick exit. A lot of speed coming out of here. Not just under. I think 2 must be the second highest speed. Doesn't get carry the greatest amount through, but it's enough to get him onto the slick, and he gets a really nice entrance onto the slick. And able to bring a beautiful nearly 1700 off of that mini slick. And 0.02 improvement. Always nice to see those tiny improvements. 72.72, that's a nice looking time there too. Got the 2s for 2's run. Following that up, we have a 0.09 improvement. Rolling out Uchi, who's just said that he wishes he had Plaza's End, which is interesting. A decent chunk. What are we looking at between Plaza and Uchi? We are looking at a half a second between the 2 of them. So we'll see how Uchi's end was. Thank you very much, Uchi, for your start. So this is what Uchi then moved on to after giving me the start. Was going too fast for the previous start and started doing that. A double jump off of those little blocks on the inside. Super clean and tasty. Loses no speed whatsoever. A lot of people were talking about hitting. Ooh, nice, gets the down ramp as well. A lot of people were talking about hitting the down ramp after that skip, that up ramp skip, but it does not line up with the spacing, the speed that you need to do. Maybe it's possible, but I doubt it. Uchi goes back to not getting around the corner quite fast enough to keep the speed and goes for the ramp. It's either or, I think. You kind of land higher. Do we need the crosshairs? You can do crosshair. Coming around here, very nicely done to the finish. Loses a bit of extra speed around there, but is able to keep it very tight. That'll be what happened at the end. Plaza wishing for the better end. Next up, snow.
1.
Turn the dot off. There you go. You only crosshairs. Very nice slick there. Very controlled on the exit. A lot of people more fidgety than that. Little speed lost there as well. Going for the top run. Did he just get a little bit of slick off the top of that? He definitely didn't just bounce it. Has to go wide with the extra speed. Should be a head hitter. Very nicely done. Carries a good amount of speed. Ooh, just clips it on the way out. $3,500 nearly coming through here. Just goes for the W. Good speed on the flick. Gets the outside double jump there. I like this line a lot. This is going to land, ooh, so close to landing really well. It just falls short of landing amazingly. But it's pretty good. And it flings it into the finish. It's default included in the game. You do crosshair mustache. And it should sort itself out. That was your 10th placed player. Now with a big jump up, we go 0.71 of a jump to qutebones. Really been getting some good runs in qutebones. Very consistent as well. Hitting a lot of good runs. You can see that time very, very close to a PB there. So that's something very good on this sort of map. Consistency. Ooh, Des, you were right. I was wrong. I did not think that was going to happen. So jumping off of the decoration on the outside instead of taking the ramp, crouching into that hole. You have to crouch to get into the holes on that pillar. We'll just let the rest of the map play out. You have to crouch to get into there. And you have to be so precise because otherwise you'll just hit your head and you won't actually get the second jump and you won't be high enough to get across. But that means not losing the down ramp. It gets the last pixel on there, head hitter down, good amount of speed and a 180. Flings it round. Absolutely stunning. Good exit speed. I couldn't get that turnaround. I think there's a few people that couldn't as well because we've seen it go back and forth between just full W turnaround and plus back. Goes for the fast and wide. We've seen that potentially not being the fastest, but look at that. Clean into the finish. Really, really nicely done. Full speed. Following that up, we have the mapper of next week's map, jhheight, cracking that one by a 0.94 of a second improvement. So a big jump here. Thankfully, that's the only place you have to crouch in the map for a skip. Cope. Yeah. So that's JH in chat telling us that there is something else to come. Is the music blowing my voice out? It looks quite close to the volume of my voice. Do I need to turn the music down? Can we get that before I ruin the next 30 minutes? Decent start here. Step up there. Nice start. JH is just going for the ramp. Doesn't eat too much there. Going wide around here for the spacing to take it tight on here. Goes for the outer pad. And gets that dunk. We're going to see a lot. I think now we're into the point where you have to be going fast enough to not take the full down ramp there. JH getting a slick on there for spacing adjustment, I assume. Gets the down ramp. 2200 is the perfect amount of spacing to get here and do the head hitter. Gains a good amount of speed there, but could have been facing backwards when he exited to be able to get a good flick off the start. Still gets 3400. It's going to be within the start. Uchi says, "Don't you dare!" It's 1670 off the mini slick. What's going to happen? I am scared. Oh god. Oh no. Oh no. He did. The 360 was sick though. Yeah, Jay showed me that, and that was what I didn't understand. Okay, so that's how we get 0.94. Uchi, of course, very, very close to Snow's run with only 0.05 slower than Snow. So Uchi, the first one to see the splits and go, yeah. No, I told you not to show me. You said you could show me a load of tricks, and I said if there's an end skip, I don't want to see it. Let's see what woah managed to put together. It's, well, have we got 0.36 faster. Lowering it down. Somebody has just sent me a Discord DM. If you're in the stream, you should send it in the in-game chat. I can see in-game chat as well as stream chat. If you cover your eyes, the thing will indeed disappear. Very nice. Was that a whole double jump? I kind of checked chat and didn't notice because the starts have been so much the same recently. Was that a whole double jump from one of the little mini blocks on the inside, or was that an outside? Because that was massive, if so. Hyperspeed coming through here. I don't think woah did the end skip. Look at the speed on the lad. Can someone go look at the... Can someone go look at the splits and see woah's strafe percentage, please? Very nice. Should be 1700, yeah, just shy of 1700 off the end of there. Where's he going for the finish? He is indeed not going for a skip. woah, one of the best ADers coming from more of a source background. It's a very nice AD around the last corner. Keeps all the speed. Oh, sending the first version of the map. Yeah, I saw your message earlier. So Cool said the map's changed and it's actually got 20 seconds shorter, which is good. Otherwise, we'll be going all night. What are we going to follow that up with? Well, we are going to follow it up with gibbz. With a 69, there's not enough times that a 69 this week. A 69.54, which is 1.03 seconds faster than woah. So, we all know what happened. But will he have done anything else? That's the other question. Will he have done any of the other tricks? Or anything new? Yeah, going super close. There was a lot of falling off. I think any of the falling off that we've seen just before runs have happened, once we've got into the top 10. Ooh, super nice. That's going to be players who are pushing it to the absolute limit. Whereas any of the falling off you'll have seen just outside the top 20. And with me is not knowing how to slick. Super nice down ramp. I'm going now fast enough to be able to get that down ramp back. I said it wasn't going to last for very long, but apparently we're already back. He just got a bit of slick off of that. He's not just using it for spacing adjustment. He's actually managed to get slick out of that. Head hitter, beautiful. Keeps the speed, very nice. Not the greatest start on the slick, but it might not be needed. He gets 3,500 anyway. And doesn't lose any time compared to his last run, though it might not be of the best. 1,300 out the top there, absolutely glorious. Yeah, he slicked on that tiny bit, and there it is. That's a really clean up to the finish. The finish skip is real. And I am afraid because I can see the distances between different players on the leaderboard. You guys can't because I've hidden it now. I'm glad of that. I need to remember that for next week. There are going to be a lot of bans handed out this week. There really are. Who have we got next then? We have Delta, the root maestro himself, handing out roots to everybody else with another 69.04 this time. That is a 0.5 second improvement. That's a big improvement. You know, we've got to come down from our whole second improvements that we've had a few of recently. We need to put ourselves back. There must be something else though, because 0.5 of a second for just better execution. It's a long map, but I don't think at this pointy end in the top 5 here that we're going to see that. Wow. Okay, so you crouch in the top side of that. That is absolutely incredible. The skill difference. Go back and watch last year. Go back and watch last year and tell me that the skill has not doubled or tripled since last year, because this is just mental. I don't think he did get the slick off of that one. I think he did use it for spacing rather than gaining extra speed. Really nice down ramp. Gets a beautiful start on the slick with a 472 unit start. And that'll be a very nice set of spacing. 1600, 1300 out the top. Nearly 1800 off of that slick. Delta, a beautiful slicker. Goes to the outside and he goes for an inside route finish. Great circle jump there. That's a very player circle jump. Really powerful, strong circle jump from a standing start. Very nicely done from Delta. But it's another big jump that we take as we go 1.01 seconds into the future with Shynx. Your 4th place player, 68.03. Okay, apparently you don't need to crouch on that top side one. So what extra thing has been added here? Now Shynx is a mad player. Shynx we've seen can just do extra. Nearly 1900 out of that, coming down here with 2200. Indeed, you don't need to crouch through there, it seems. So those higher up ones are more open. And you can get through there and actually jump off of them without crouching. I thought you'd have to crouch just to be able to get a guaranteed jump out of them rather than fitting in perfectly. But oh, that's super nice. I think he got it. I think he gained some speed off of that slick. I'm not sure. Head hitter, super nice. Keeping 500 speed onto the slick. Super fast through here. It's absolutely mad that Kyle has the speed record with some of the ways people are getting speed out of this exit. Like, absolutely mad. But everybody now is going for a really tight section because they're stuck. If you go 3600, you're good. If you go 3700, you're going to eat that ramp. Slick speed entry mattering. It's less the slick speed entry mattering and more you can go in a straighter line rather than swinging it wide right off the start. I think that's how it was for me, at least. Getting faster onto the slick means that I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to face, like we're seeing people not facing backwards anymore to start it off. As we head into the top 3, it is Frostie's time to shine. Only a 0.12 improvement from Frostie, so I'd expect to either see the same or to see a poorly executed insane route. But I think Frostie will have gone for the same sort of route. Crouching on the top after the 3500 ramp hit is in, yes, if you crouch then you're going to go up further. Dizzy did it. It means that you don't drop till later. Dizzy did it in 2023-1, crouching on the roof so that you stay in the air longer and then you get a landing a bit further forwards. And that could be the difference between getting onto the slick really nicely and getting onto the slick at a bit of a bad, the final like mini slick at a bit of a bad angle. 2600 coming through here, super clean, keeping it together to take this corner. Just going straight across the slick, thank God for that. 2300 out of here, going all the way round to the finish. Bangs his head. Nice start. Goes wide on a lot of that slick, but straight through into the finish. I can see why Frostie was often saying that he hit himself on the frame there. Seen that a few times in chat this week. Interesting lineup, but looks very tasty. Keeps speed going over the top. Doesn't have to quite circle jump over the top of it. Wow. That's where the extra time save came from. Shynx had to circle jump. Frostie managed to get a double jump off the side, keep the speed just a little bit so he doesn't have to circle jump. There we go. Source up next. He was teasing us, not playing the map for the first few days. Training offline, was he? Or had something else to do. 0.98 improvement over Frostie. So a big difference. And let's have a look. What's going wrong with loading these demos? So we have to fast forward the demos. So we block the screen because otherwise you'd be seeing a lot of flashing bright lights and that's not quite good. So we block the screen automatically until the run starts. Super nice start from Source, going for that central block again. Back to that. If it gets you the good spacing, I think that's the most important thing. We'll see how much speed he can take through this next section. Cleanly round here. Good head hitter. Keeps good speed. Goes wide for the start of the slick, but look, going to stay right in the centre of this bright yellow patch. 3600 coming through here. Knows he has to slow down even to get the spacing. Gets absolutely perfect spacing on that though. 1750, 1760 coming out of there. Great speed. What's going to be the end skip? Full speed over the top. Nearly 700 hitting over the top of that. Absolutely fantastic. There's your extra speed. Once again, you keep speed over the top. This map, all about keeping speed. And the shortcuts even keep the keeping speed. Now there is a slight problem because we're going to head over and skip a little bit in the future now. We would ordinarily go to the final run, the fastest run, but we know who it is. It's Goblin. But I just want to show the history of the week. I've selected the wrong week. Here we are, moving on to the screen. Pull that into full screen so you don't have to look at all these beautiful pieces. Let's put on our top 3 because they're the only ones that matter for making this point. You can see Source starts playing late, scaring us all, whether he's just going to quit. But the reason he scared us all was because Goblin did this. 109, 106, 106.26, 106.93. Within 1 day of playing, Goblin mogged everybody. And then he improved his time to a 105.72. Let's take a look at what Goblin did. Because is it just the fact that he is possibly the best slick player the world will ever see? Not to glaze the man or anything, but is it just his incredible AD turning that will really help in this map? His ability to keep speed where others are going to be losing speed. People were doing that at the start, that pre-run. I'm not sure how much it helps, but apparently there's a pre-run and Goblin's got it. And he comes out of there with an extra 100 speed. Goes off of that top leg. Beautifully done. He didn't need to improve his time, remember. But he did, to get over a second faster than everybody else. This is not sped up. We will watch this in slow motion after. Flinging it round this corner. Even takes the down ramp. How does he manage to avoid that wall? Head hitter. Full speed down. Keeps it super tight. Just going for that 3500 through the teleporter because that is what you need to get a 3600 and a beautiful stop. Nearly 1400 there. And as I said, the AD's here. He's gaining speed. Everybody else is just keeping speed. Goblin is gaining speed and he doesn't need anything. 800 speed over the top. What on earth was that? We're going to do our binds. What have we got? We've got a 0.25 and we've got a 0.01. I think we're going to put a slow-mo 0.5 on that. Ah, I can't really bind to that, can I? Look at that. Absolute magic. Not many people that be able to take that kind of run on. And to do it so quick, I'd really like to see the original record that still stands. It's happened a couple of times. We're basically just going to watch this entire thing in half speed and even slower if needed. So, coming over here, incredible slick. 1900 off of the slick. We're going to see all of the top tricks here. Landing on top of these. It doesn't even look like he's going to make it. He gets the corner of that. Nearly hits his head. I'd have started crouching through there, but no, Goblin just keeps strafing with maximal strafing efficiency. The W turn, full power, keeping on the gas. Getting it round, loses very little speed off of that section. I think maybe 50 speed with my terrible maths there. Coming through here, lands further than halfway down, gaining about 50 speed again. Keeps it tight to the side, very few extra bounces, allows him a lot of time to set up for this section here. And then we go down to a slightly slower speed. He is strafing across there and lets it run. Lets the strafe run. You can, when you land a slick, you can just keep strafing. Lets it run across the slick slightly. Keeps it together around this corner, but this is the bit that's just absolutely incredible. And he keeps the speed, and how does he manage to save this? Look at this. He is losing speed on this turn. Ignore the light glitching, but wow. And then look, he's gaining speed on that one. The ADs of Goblin, and he glance that wall, doesn't touch it, just whew. The hairs on his arms get shaved by the rock. Head hitter on here. Let's head back to the 0.5 speed. I mean, we're playing this in half speed, and this looks like it could be a top 20 run. It's in half speed. Just absolutely incredible to see. Coming down here, 1600. Beautiful squat here. The flick round the top, you see the speed just getting chunk, 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 going up, up, up. Flicks it off. 3500. Or 1350, sorry. 3500 was the entrance speed. Nearly 800, and this is where I mean, still gaining. These ADs, most people were maintaining because they go overturn, strafe, overturn, strafe turn, overturn, strafe turn. Look at the step up on that. Goblin's just gaining speed. Got it absolutely pegged, the AD. We said woah has fantastic, fantastic AD turn, but yeah, Goblin and Dizzy. I mean, that's really sometimes what sets these two apart. But just look at this. Landing that. The full commitment, that's something that really sets apart these top players, and something that I think everyone can learn from, is go full commitment. When you know you've got a run, when you know you can land it, don't worry about losing runs, because if you try to wiggle your way out and keep a good run, you're probably just going to kill it. Go for the best run. You've got all week. You can do it. 650 out of that ramp and keeps 700 over the top. Gets on the strafe. I mean, we're watching in a 10th speed here. And the timing, you know, most people wouldn't be able to get their strafes back on time in that amount of time in real time. And Goblin's doing it in 1/10 speed. Strafing all the way into the finish. Last second flick probably could have eked out a little bit more if he'd stayed on. But I mean, yeah, we're looking at this in 1/10 speed to be able to show Goblin's run. What a fantastic run. Let's relax slightly and take a look at next week. There is something that I have to tell you about next week, because JH is putting up a bounty. The map maker has put up a bounty. We have 20 euros. Let me scroll up and make sure I'm getting the right information. Boo, boo, boo. There it is. So for round 4, the first one has already happened. That is that the first person to get a time of 36.5 or lower will receive 20 euros. That is the time that is down here. The gold time. Very nice time there. Frostie was the one to receive that. The The first person to beat the timescale assisted time is an Easter egg on the map. Can we leak the timescale assisted time, please, JH, for everybody, for the purposes of this demonstration? The timescale assisted time, I'll tell you, that is €50. And there are 2 by the end of the weeks. By the end of the week, the person with the fastest no jump time and the person with the fastest W only time will receive €20 each. Delta's tied it. It's a 30.27. So that's a time that JH set with slow motion in play that we were just watching Goblins run with. And people have already started to time it. So let's take a look at this map with some of the tricks that I've learned already throughout this week. And you would get over the top of there if you had any skill. The timescaled secret run means that JH did it with slow-mo enabled, but you have to beat it in 1.0 timescale, so full speed like we normally play. This is a great map. There's going to be a lot of ammo. I'll probably pull the ammo all the way to the center, so for anyone who didn't notice, you get the ammo at the start with that Hagar, and then that's what you carry all the way through with the grenade launcher, the mortar through here. Then you pick up the rocket launcher with a quad boost, and then you take this all the way into the finish. Very nicely done. The rules for W only is A, D and S. The rules for no jump is you never press your jump button. For the W only and no jump, you will need to record a run with the inputs on down here. Turn those inputs on, or send a demo. So have CL_auto demo on. This is a fantastic map. This is going to bring some incredible routes. I can't imagine the sort of routes that we're going to see this week with this map. I mean, there's so many intentional routes on this map that the amount of unintentional routes that we saw last week with only kind of one major intentional route, it is going to be a fantastic week for the route crafters, the theory crafters, and for everyone to play. It's a tough map, but I believe in you, as I said in the route guide. Check out that route guide if you are struggling with the map, even if it's just to find out the way all the way through it. Thank you very, very much for watching. It has been a fantastic week of strafing. Congratulations to Goblin and to everybody who played this week. Before we go, let's remember to take a look at the overall, actually. So, the screen. Here we go. In your overall ranking, we have Goblin still at the top. Source gains 1 place from this round, with Frostie dropping down 1. Delta staying in the same place. All of these guys staying in the same place. Delta, Shynx, gibbz, Snow, woah, jhheight, Uchi and 2 moving up 2 places. RainbowShadow stays in the same place. Qutebones moves up 3. Plaza stays in the same place in 14th. wdjzr and Kyle move up 2, with Ninja moving down 2, having placed 25th this week, a very respectable time. I move up 2 places with an 18th this week. Nature moves up 3 places with a 21st, just outside the top 20, but still a great number of points gained. And Banano drops it into the top 20. The biggest losers are Ash, who didn't set a great time this week, drops out of the top 20, down 14 places, and Klein, who didn't set a time at all this week, dropping out of the top 20, allowing a couple more people up and in. A lot of people gaining and losing places this week as people have started to drop out or potentially not play every map, but depending on their tastes, if they're not in it for the overall, for the long haul. But it has been a fantastic week, and you can see how many people have played which maps and their scores after each week. Take a look at it on the website, it's also on there. Thank you very much for watching for the proper time this time. I'll be back with this time next week. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the follow button if you're watching this on Twitch live. Thank you very much for watching. And I will see you next week for for round 4 for that beautiful round from jhheight with so many things to make and do. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much.